First contact friction. Maya Reeves wiped the sweat from her brow as she calibrated the environmental controls in the diplomatic chamber of Research Station Harmony. The station, a gleaming marvel of cooperative engineering between 6 different species, orbited a gas giant in neutral space, serving as both a scientific hub and a meeting ground for interstellar diplomacy. Today marked a historic occasion, humanity's first formal meeting with the Vezari, an ancient spacefaring species known for their advanced technology and cautious approach to galactic politics. Are the atmospheric settings correct? Asked Director Call, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of nervousness Maya had learned to recognize in the Tlaxian administrator. Nitrogen-oxygen mix at 78 to 21. Trace argon and carbon dioxide. Humidity at 35%. Temperature at 22 Celsius. Maya recited, double-checking her handheld scanner. Perfect Earth normal conditions, which the Vezari assured us they can tolerate. Very good, the director chittered. The humans will handle this first contact. The Vezari specifically requested you. They seem intrigued by your species. Maya nodded, though she couldn't help but feel the weight of responsibility. Humanity was the newest member of the galactic community, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 30 years ago. They were considered impulsive, unpredictable, and strangely innovative by older species, a reputation that made them simultaneously valuable and concerning as allies. The diplomatic chamber doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing 3 tall, slender figures. The Vezari moved with fluid grace, their iridescent scales shifting colors with each motion. Their elongated heads housed 4 sensory stalks and large, intelligent eyes that seemed to absorb every detail of the room. They wore no obvious technology, though Maya knew from briefings that their scales likely contained integrated computational systems more advanced than anything humans had developed. "Welcome to Station Harmony," Maya said, stepping forward with her hands open in the universal gesture of peaceful intent. "I am Engineer Maya Reeves, representing Earth and the Human Cooperative." The central Vezari inclined its head, scales shifting to a deep blue. "We are pleased to meet you, Maya Reeves of Earth. I am Blazon Seleth. These are my associates, Observer Null and Archivist Ven." Their voices had a musical quality, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Maya found herself immediately at ease, despite the importance of the meeting. Director Kahl gestured toward the circular conference table. "Please, be seated. We have much to discuss regarding potential technological exchange and scientific cooperation." As they settled into their positions, Maya noticed the Vezari studying the simple mechanical watch on her wrist, an antique from her grandfather, a reminder of home. An analog timekeeping device. Blazon Seleth asked, scales rippling with curiosity. "We were informed that humans have digital chronometry." Maya smiled. "We do, but some of us appreciate older technologies. This was my grandfather's. It's reliable, works without power. And," she hesitated, then added, "it connects me to my history." The Vezari exchanged quick glances, their scales shifting through patterns that Maya couldn't interpret. "Fascinating," said Observer Null. "Your species maintains outdated technologies for sentimental value. This seems inefficient. Humans often find value beyond efficiency," Maya explained. "This watch has survived 3 generations and still functions perfectly. There's an elegance in its simple mechanics." The diplomatic discussions progressed smoothly after that, with the Vezari expressing particular interest in human approaches to environmental adaptation and resource utilization. Their own specialties in quantum computing and gravitational manipulation could revolutionize human technology if an alliance could be forged. 3 hours into the meeting, as they were discussing potential joint research initiatives, the station's lights flickered. Maya frowned, checking her comm device. "Engineering, status report," she called. Static answered her. Director Call's skin paled to ashen gray. The backup systems should have engaged immediately. Before Maya could respond, The station's emergency sirens wailed to life, followed by the automated alert system. Warning. Unauthorized vessels DTKT-80. Breach in Docking Bay 3. Security protocols engaged. Pirates. Maya said, her mind racing through protocols. The Scythian marauders have been hitting research outposts in this sector. The Vezari rose in unison, their scales now a pulsing red pattern. We must return to our vessel, Liaison Seleth stated. Your ship is in Docking Bay 4, Director Call said, tapping frantically at his console. But internal sensors show armed intruders between us and that section. Communications are being jammed. A massive explosion rocked the station, throwing Maya against the wall. Alarms screamed, and emergency containment fields flickered into existence around the diplomatic chamber. They'd breached the main power conduits, Maya said, pulling herself up and checking her scanner. We're isolated. Station defenses are failing systematically. The pirates seek our technology, Archivist Ven said, scales now pulsing in quick, sharp patterns. The Vezari do not share knowledge with those who would misuse it. The sound of plasma weapons discharging echoed from the corridor outside. Director Call collapsed into his chair, all four eyes wide with terror. Station Harmony has minimal offensive capabilities. We're a research and diplomatic installation. Maya's mind raced. The station's conventional defenses were clearly failing against whatever technology the pirates had brought. They needed an alternative, something unexpected. Director, she said, does the maintenance access still run behind the diplomatic chambers? The one we use to install the environmental systems? Yes, but the pirates will have studied the station's official schematics, but those service tunnels were added after the main construction. They might not know about them. Liaison Seleth turned to Maya, scales shifting to a deep purple. You propose an escape route. Maya shook her head. Not exactly. I propose we fight back, but not in a way they'll expect. With what weapons? Director Cal gestured around the diplomatic chamber. This is a meeting room. Maya's eyes landed on her grandfather's watch, and a slow smile spread across her face. Sometimes the oldest technologies are the most unexpected, and humans are very good at improvising weapons from everyday objects. The Vezari scales rippled with what might have been skepticism or interest. Maya couldn't tell which. I need access to the maintenance bay and the acoustic research lab, she said, already moving toward the hidden service panel in the wall. And I'll need your help. What exactly are you planning? Asked Observer Null. Maya pulled the panel open, revealing the narrow maintenance tunnel beyond. Something the pirates won't see coming. Something very human. As they squeezed into the tunnel, the sounds of battle grew louder throughout the station. The Vezari followed Maya with evident curiosity, their scales now glowing with a soft blue light that illuminated their path. You seem remarkably calm for someone whose station is under attack, Archivist Ven noted. Maya paused to consult her handheld scanner. Humans have a long history of finding ourselves in impossible situations. We've learned that panic doesn't help. And this improvised weapon you intend to create. She glanced back at the Vezari, her expression determined. Let's just say that human history is full of unconventional weapons. Sometimes the simplest technologies are the most effective, especially when your enemy doesn't expect them. As they crawled deeper into the maintenance tunnels, Maya's mind was already assembling components, calculating frequencies, and mapping their route to the acoustic lab. The pirates may have had superior firepower, but they were about to learn an important lesson about humanity. Innovation flourished under pressure, and humans had millennia of experience turning ordinary objects into extraordinary weapons. Improvised solutions. The maintenance tunnels wound through station harmony like metallic veins, barely wide enough for Maya to crawl through. For the taller Vezari, it was an undignified squeeze, yet they followed without complaint, their scales now dimmed to a subtle glow that wouldn't attract attention through the ventilation grates. 2 more junctions, Maya whispered, consulting her scanner. The acoustic research lab should be just beyond. These access ways are not in our briefing materials, Liaison observed. Is this common in human construction? Maya suppressed a smile. We tend to build in backdoors and alternate routes. History has taught us the value of escape paths, a peculiar adaptation. Observer Null commented. Designing for failure scenarios rather than preventing them entirely. We call it pragmatism, Maya replied. Perfect systems don't exist. Better to plan for imperfection than pretend it won't happen. They reached a junction where the tunnel widened slightly. Through a ventilation grate, they could see the corridor outside the acoustic lab. Two armed figures stood guard, humanoid in shape, but with distinct ridged foreheads that marked them as Scythian marauders. Their plasma rifles hummed with ready energy. The pirates have secured key research facilities. Director Call whispered, his voice trembling. They will strip Station Harmony of all valuable technology before destroying it. Maya studied the pirates through the grate. They're wearing enhanced sensory gear, probably to compensate for the station's emergency lighting. That gives me an idea. She turned to the Vizari. What can you tell me about Scythian physiology? Archivist Ven's scales rippled with patterns that somehow conveyed scholarly precision. The Scythians evolved on a dim world with thin atmosphere. Their auditory sensitivity is approximately 3 times that of humans, particularly in higher frequencies. Their visual spectrum extends into ultraviolet ranges, but is poor in low light without technological assistance. Maya nodded, her expression brightening. Perfect. That confirms my plan. She opened her toolkit, a compact array of multi-tools that every station engineer carried, and began disassembling her scanner. What are you doing? Director Call asked, watching nervously as she extracted components. Building a sonic disruptor, Maya explained, working quickly. If the Scythians have sensitive hearing, we can use that against them. The acoustic lab contains equipment for generating precisely modulated sound waves. With some modifications, we can turn it into a weapon that will incapacitate them without harming the station's structure. Observer now leaned closer, scales shifting to an inquisitive pattern. You can repurpose scientific instruments as weapons so easily. It's an old human tradition, Maya said with a grim smile. Throughout our history, tools have become weapons and weapons have become tools. The line between them has always been thin. She worked methodically, combining her scanner's power cell with components from her toolkit. When finished, she held up a crude device with exposed circuitry. This will interface with the lab's acoustic generator. I can program it to produce a targeted frequency that should overload their sensory equipment and disorient them directly. Liaison Selith's scales shifted to a deep blue. You created this weapon from communication equipment without specialized tools. Specialized tools are a luxury, Maya said. Humans learn to make do with whatever's available. And you learned this skill where? Military training. Archivist Ven inquired. Maya laughed softly. High school physics and a misspent youth tinkering with electronics. Now, I need a distraction to draw those guards away from the door. After briefly explaining her plan, Maya positioned herself at the maintenance tunnel exit while Director Call reluctantly prepared to create a diversion. The Vizari watched with evident fascination as the humans coordinated with minimal communication. Director Call pushed open a service panel at the far end of the corridor and tossed a small component from Maya's toolkit. It clattered loudly against the metal flooring, echoing in the silent corridor. Both guards immediately swung their weapons toward the sound. Security breach in Section 12. One barked into his communicator. As they moved to investigate, Maya emerged silently from the maintenance tunnel, her improvised device ready. She reached the acoustic lab door in 3 quick strides and placed her palm against the biometric scanner. The door slid open just enough for her to slip inside, followed by the Vizari. The acoustic laboratory was a large hexagonal chamber lined with sound-dampening materials and filled with sophisticated equipment. At its center stood the primary research instrument, a quantum harmonic generator designed to study the effects of precise sound frequencies on various materials. Maya immediately went to work, connecting her improvised device to the main console. Her fingers flew across the interface, reprogramming the system. How will this defeat armed pirates? Director Call asked, nervously watching the door. Sound can be more powerful than most people realize, Maya explained, not looking up from her work. At the right frequency and amplitude, it can disrupt electronic systems, shatter materials, and even incapacitate living beings. The Sethians' enhanced hearing makes them particularly vulnerable. The Vezari gathered around the console, their scales shifting through patterns of blue, green, and purple as they observed Maya's work. Your solution is elegant in its simplicity, Liaison Seleth finally said, using the environment against the enemy rather than matching their firepower. Sometimes the best weapon isn't a weapon at all, Maya replied, making final adjustments. It's understanding the weaknesses in what your opponent considers a strength. A sudden pounding on the laboratory door made them all freeze. The pirates had discovered their presence. Almost there, Maya murmured, her fingers dancing across the controls. The door began to glow red-hot as the pirates attempted to cut through it. They will breach in moments, Director Call whispered, his skin now pale gray with fear. Maya connected the final circuit. Done. Everyone, cover your ears. The dampening field will protect us inside this room, but it's going to be loud. As the door began to melt inward, Maya activated her creation. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The quantum harmonic generator emitted a sound just beyond human hearing. Then the effect became visible in the corridor outside. The pirates dropped their cutting tools, clutching at their helmets. Their enhanced sensory gear, designed to amplify their natural capabilities, now worked against them, channeling the devastating sonic attack directly into their sensitive ears. They collapsed, writhing in agony. It worked, Director Call exclaimed. That's just the beginning, Maya said, adjusting the controls. I've sensed this to the station's emergency broadcast system. We can extend the effect throughout the entire station, anywhere there's a speaker or communications panel. She worked quickly, programming a localized series of sound waves that would target the specific frequencies Scythian sensory equipment operated on. You have weaponized the entire station's communication infrastructure, Observer Null noted, scales rippling with what might have been admiration. With no actual weapons. Humans don't see division between tools and weapons, Maya explained, finalizing the program. Everything has multiple uses if you think creatively enough. Liaison Seleth moved closer to the console, studying the interface. This approach would never occur to the Vezari. We specialize our technologies for precise applications. The concept of improvisation is foreign to our development processes. Maya shrugged. It's survival instinct. Humans have always been outmatched by predators, by nature, by each other. We learned to use whatever advantages we could find or create. The station suddenly shuddered as a distant explosion rocked through the structure. They're trying to breach the central core, Director Call said, checking his emergency communicator. If they reach the quantum processors. They won't, Maya interrupted, standing up from the console. I need to reach the central environmental control room. From there, I can amplify this signal throughout the entire station simultaneously. That is 3 sections away, Director Cal objected. Past numerous pirates. Maya gestured to the incapacitated Scythians outside the laboratory door. They're not expecting a sonic attack. Their entire tactical approach depends on their sensory advantages. We've just turned that advantage into a crippling weakness. The Vezari exchanged glances, their scales shifting through rapid patterns before Liaison Seleth spoke. We will accompany you, Engineer Reeves. This solution is intriguingly effective. We wish to observe its full implementation. Maya nodded, a determined smile crossing her face. Then let's move. Director Call, can you operate this console to provide localized cover as we advance? The Tlaxian administrator straightened, finding new resolve. I can. Be careful. As they prepared to leave the relative safety of the acoustic laboratory, Archivist Venn approached Maya. Engineer Reeves, we have encountered 17 spacefaring species in our history. None have demonstrated your particular approach to problem solving. It is most unexpected. Maya checked the power levels on her improvised device. That's humanity's special talent, Archivist Venn. Being unexpected. Turning the tide. The corridor stretched before them like a gauntlet, emergency lights casting long shadows across the metal flooring. Maya led the way, her improvised sonic disruptor humming with energy. Behind her, the three Vizari moved with silent grace, their scales now pulsing in synchronized patterns that seemed almost militaristic. The Environmental Control Center is 2 levels up, Maya whispered, consulting her handheld scanner. Director Kahl's distraction will only affect this section. We need to move quickly. Why not simply extend the sonic effect through the entire station from the acoustic laboratory? Observer Null asked. The station's communication network is compartmentalized for security, Maya explained. The environmental control system is the only network that reaches every section simultaneously. It was designed that way for emergency atmosphere regulation. A sudden burst of plasma fire from a side corridor sent them diving for cover. 2 Scythian marauders advanced, their enhanced visors gleaming in the low light. Maya twisted a dial on her sonic disruptor and activated it at close range. The effect was immediate. The pirates staggered, their coordination dissolving as their sensory equipment overloaded with painful feedback. Before they could recover, Maya was on her feet, running past them. Now, she called to the Vizari, who followed without hesitation. They reached the central stairwell, a massive spiral structure that connected all 5 levels of Station Harmony. Above them, they could hear the sounds of pirates coordinating their raid, their harsh voices echoing in the metal chamber. They're concentrated around the quantum research labs, Maya noted. At least 20 of them based on those communications. We are 4 against 20, Lays and Seleth observed, scales shifting to a deep purple. These are not favorable odds. Maya smiled grimly. Numbers don't always determine the outcome. Humans have a saying. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. The Vizari's scales rippled with confusion. It means determination and strategy can overcome superior force, Maya clarified. Besides, we have something they don't expect. They ascended the stairwell cautiously, pausing at each landing to check for pirates. On the 3rd level, they encountered a group of station personnel. Scientists from various species huddled in a maintenance alcove. Engineer Reeves, exclaimed Dr. Tellis, a Centaurian physicist. We thought everyone in the diplomatic section had been captured. We managed to escape through the maintenance tunnels, Maya explained quickly. We're heading to environmental control to neutralize the pirates. Are any of you injured? Minor injuries only, Dr. Tellis replied. The pirates seem more interested in our research than in us. They've been systematically downloading data and collecting equipment. Maya nodded. That fits their pattern. They're tech scavengers. They sell advanced research to the highest bidder. What is your plan? Asked another scientist, a Volucrian with iridescent feathers, now dulled with dust and fear. Maya held up her sonic disruptor. I've modified this to overload their sensory equipment. Once we reach environmental control, we can broadcast the frequency through the entire station. Dr. Tellis's compound eyes widened. The respiratory circulation system. Of course, it would carry the sound waves to every compartment. Exactly, Maya confirmed. But we need to move now, before they realize what we're doing. The scientists exchanged glances before Dr. Tellis spoke again. We will create a diversion to draw attention away from your group. Most of the pirates are concentrated in Research Section Alpha. That's too dangerous, Maya objected. The Volucrian scientist ruffled his feathers determinedly. This station represents decades of cooperative research. We will not surrender it without resistance. Before Maya could argue further, Lays and Seleth stepped forward, scales shifting to a formal pattern. Your courage honors your species. The Vizari acknowledge your sacrifice. The scientists nodded solemnly and moved toward Research Section Alpha, while Maya led her group in the opposite direction, toward environmental control. They may not survive, Maya said quietly as they climbed the final staircase. They choose to defend what they have built, Archivist Ven replied. Is this not also a human trait? Maya couldn't argue with that assessment. Throughout human history, people had defended their creations, their homes, their communities, their ideas, often against overwhelming odds. They reached the Environmental Control Center without further encounters. The massive chamber housed the central systems that regulated atmosphere, temperature, and circulation throughout Station Harmony. Its walls were lined with monitoring equipment, and at its center stood the main control interface, a complex array of holographic displays and tactile controls. Perfect, Maya said, immediately connecting her sonic disruptor to the main console. This will amplify the effect exponentially and distribute it through every air vent in the station. As she worked, the sound of an explosion echoed from the direction where the scientists had gone to create their diversion. Maya worked faster, her fingers flying across the interface. Almost done, she muttered. Just need to set the frequency to target their specific sensory range without affecting other species. The Environmental Control Center's door suddenly hissed open. 4 heavily armed pirates stormed in, weapons raised. Step away from the console, the lead pirate demanded, his enhanced visor gleaming. Maya froze, her hand hovering over the activation control. The pirates advanced, plasma rifles humming with deadly energy. Your primitive attempt at resistance ends here, the pirate leader growled. The station is ours. Maya's eyes met those of Liaz and Seleth, whose scales had shifted to a deep, steady blue. Understanding passed between them without words. You're right about one thing, Maya said, slowly raising her hands. This ends here. In a fluid motion, Liaz and Seleth's scales flashed with blinding intensity, a brilliant pulse of light that momentarily disoriented the pirates whose enhanced visors amplified the flash to painful levels. In that instant of distraction, Maya slammed her hand down on the activation control. For a moment, silence hung in the air. The disruptor's primary frequency was beyond human hearing. Then the effect became visible. The pirates convulsed, dropping their weapons as they clutched at their helmets. Their enhanced sensory equipment, designed to give them superior awareness, now channeled excruciating sonic pain directly into their nervous systems. Throughout Station Harmony, the same scene repeated itself. Every pirate with enhanced sensory gear collapsed, incapacitated by sound waves precisely calibrated to exploit their technological advantage. It worked, Maya exclaimed, monitoring the station's internal sensors. They're down in all sections. She quickly adjusted the frequency to a maintenance level, enough to keep the pirates incapacitated without causing permanent damage. Station security personnel, now freed from the initial assault, began securing the fallen invaders. A most impressive demonstration, Observer Null said, scales rippling with evident fascination. You defeated superior numbers and armaments with modified research equipment. The application of scientific principles as a defensive measure, Archivist Ven added, without conventional weapons. Most innovative. Maya shrugged, suddenly exhausted as the adrenaline began to fade. Humans have always had to think our way out of problems we couldn't overpower. It's how we survived on Earth, and it's how we'll survive among the stars. Station-wide communications suddenly crackled to life, and Director Call's voice echoed through the chamber. Attention all personnel. The pirate threat has been neutralized. Remain in secure locations until security teams have completed their sweep. Medical assistance is being dispatched to all sections. Hours later, with the pirates secured in the station's detention center and repairs underway, Maya found herself back in the diplomatic chamber with the Vizari delegation. The room, which had witnessed the beginning of the crisis, now served as the setting for its resolution. Director Cal, looking exhausted but relieved, addressed the gathered representatives from various species. Today, Station Harmony faced its greatest threat since establishment. That we stand here now, with our research intact and our personnel safe, is due largely to the quick thinking of Engineer Reeves and the cooperation of our honored Vezari guests. Liaison Seleth rose, scales shifting through a formal pattern that somehow conveyed dignity and respect. The Vezari came to Station Harmony, seeking understanding of humanity's potential contribution to galactic civilization. We have observed Engineer Reeves transform communication equipment into defense systems, repurpose environmental controls as weapons, and neutralize superior forces through applied knowledge rather than brute force. The liaison turned to face Maya directly. We have witnessed creativity, adaptation, and resourcefulness that exceeds our preliminary assessment of human capabilities. The Vezari Conclave formally extends an offer of technological exchange and mutual defense. A murmur of surprise ran through the chamber. The Vezari were notoriously selective in their alliances, having rebuffed numerous species in the past. In thousands of cycles of space exploration, Archivist Venn added, we have encountered many species who developed powerful weapons, but few who could create weapons from tools with such efficiency. This, adaptability, is a quality the Vezari recognize as valuable. Maya found herself momentarily speechless, a rare condition for a human. The human cooperative accepts your offer with gratitude, she finally managed. We have much to learn from the Vezari. And perhaps, Observer Null said, scales shifting to a thoughtful blue pattern, we have something to learn from humans as well. Your species views the universe not as it should be, but as it is, and then finds unexpected ways to navigate its challenges. As the formal diplomatic proceedings continued around her, Maya found herself reflecting on humanity's place among the stars. Humans lacked the Vezari's ancient wisdom, the Tlaxians' analytical precision, or the Volucrians' intuitive understanding of spatial dynamics. But they brought something equally valuable to the galactic community, the ability to see new possibilities in old technologies, to find unconventional solutions to conventional problems. In a universe full of specialized adaptations, humanity's greatest strength might be its reluctance to specialize, its stubborn insistence on repurposing, reimagining, and reconstructing the world around it. Director Cal approached her as the meeting concluded. The Vezari have never offered an alliance after a first contact, he said quietly. You've accomplished something remarkable today. Maya smiled, fingering the old mechanical watch at her wrist, the simple technology that had sparked the Vezari's initial curiosity. Sometimes the oldest tools can still surprise you, she said. Humans haven't survived this long by forgetting our past. We've survived by carrying it with us, learning from it, and using it to face whatever comes next. Outside the viewport, the gas giant around which Station Harmony orbited cast its majestic glow across the diplomatic chamber, a reminder of the vast cosmos still waiting to be explored, full of dangers and discoveries that would require all the ingenuity humanity could muster. And if today was any indication, they were ready for the challenge.